Hola y bienvenidos al video de los verbos ER y IR. Hoy vamos a discutir cómo hacer la conjugación de los verbos ER y IR. You remember AR conjugation, right? To do AR conjugation, you find a verb that ends in AR, like preparar or estudiar. The first step is to create the stem. It's really easy to do. All you do is take off the AR. So preparar becomes prepar, estudiar becomes estudi. This should sound really familiar. Once you take off the AR and you have the stem, all you have to do is add the correct ending to make your conjugation. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. So if I want to say I prepare, I say yo preparo. If I want to say they study, and it's the girls, I would say ellas estudian. This should sound really familiar. It's something that we did a couple of chapters ago. ER and IR conjugation is very, very similar to AR conjugation. The first step is almost exactly the same. You take off either the ER or the IR to create the stem. So for the verb comer, which means to eat, I would take off the ER and have com, C-O-M. This you should be writing down in your notes because it is new. To conjugate the IR verb vivir, which means to live, I create the stem viv, V-I-V, simply by taking off the IR. The next step is the same too. You add the correct ending. What's different is the ending. Some of them are the same, but most of them are different. In the O form, I take off either the ER or the IR and I add O, just like AR. In the to form, I take off the ER or the IR and I add ES. In the ea usted form, I take off the ER or the IR and I add E. I'm going to skip over to the eos, eas, ustedes form now. There's a reason I'm skipping. You'll see it in a second. For the eos, eas, ustedes form, I take off the ER and add EN. Very, very similar to AR. You'll notice all of these, though, instead of having A's, have E's in them. For nosotros and vosotros, I have to pay attention. If I have an ER verb like comer, I take off the ER and I add E-M-O-S. If I have an IR verb like vivir, though, I take off the IR and I add I-M-O-S. It's really not that complicated because it matches. If it's an ER verb, it takes E-M-O-S. If it's an IR verb, it takes I-M-O-S. Similar in the vosotros. In the vosotros form, if it's an ER verb, I take off the ER and I add E with an accent, I-S. But if it's an IR verb, I take off the IR and I simply add I with an accent, S. So if I want to say I eat, I say yo como. Take off the ER, add O. If I want to say they, the girls, eat, I take off the ER and add EN. Ellas comen. If I want to say you live, I take off the ER and add ES. Tú vives. But if I want to say we live, I take off the IR and I add IMOS. Nosotros vivimos. Let's try it. All right, pause the tape, and when you're done, hit play again. All right, so for aprender, I'm going to take off the ER and I'm going to make it aprendo. Yo aprendo. For comprender, I'm going to take off the ER and I'm going to make it comprendes, or I'm sorry, comprendemos, which means we understand. And for you sell, vender, I'm going to take the ER off and add ES. Tú vendes. Let's try another set. Again, pause it, and when you're ready, hit play. All right, for ellos abrir, I'm going to take off the IR, and I'm going to add EN, and that means they open. Ellos abren. For vosotros recibir, I'm going to take off the IR, and I have to pay attention because it ends in IR. So I'm going to add, I with an accent, S. Vosotros recibís. And for usted compartir, you share, I'm going to take off the IR and add an E. Usted comparte. One more round. Try these. Again, pause, and when you're ready, hit play. For vosotros aprender, I'm going to have to pay attention to the fact that it is an ER verb. So I'm going to take off my ER and add E with an accent, IS, because it's an ER verb. Vosotros aprendéis, which means you all learn. For comprender with ustedes, I'm going to take off the ER and add EN. Comprenden. You all understand. And for ella and vender, I'm going to take off the ER and add E. Ella vende. She sells. Well, that's all there is to it. Tiene un buen noche. Adios.